Program this morning.
Good morning, and a pleasure to be here.
All right. Well, I want to look at the rights that Nigerians have. A lot of people are not even conscious about their rights anymore because some persons feel it is not something they can enjoy. That's what some people think right now. Now, let's get to know what the fundamental human rights of Nigerians are as it's enshrined in the law.
Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended contains what we call the fundamental human rights, and section 33 talks about right to life. That every Nigerian has a right to his or her right and must not be deprived or denied that right, except where certain things happen. Maybe where somebody goes into armed robbery and tried and convicted. That's the thing that could deny somebody of such a right, because the person can be sentenced to death. Or if there's issue like, if there's something like war can deny somebody a right to life, and things like that. Now, we have the right to human dignity, that nobody should be subjected to inhuman and degrading treatment. We have the right to freedom of movement, freedom of expression, freedom of association, freedom of religion, right to freedom to own property. All these rights are there. But what is going on now? The rate at which kidnapping for ransom is happening, with even some cases where people pay the ransom and are still killed, is a denial of their right to life. Okay? Now, also the issue of inhuman and degrading treatment is so common, like the case of these children being abducted from school, is serious inhuman and degrading treatment that they are subjected to. And it's also a restriction to their freedom of movement. Being abducted, being forced into the forest, being put under kinds of conditions and all that. And every Nigerian now is even afraid to travel. They are not sure whether you arrive at your destination. So freedom of movement is highly violated. Okay? Human and degrading treatment if one fall into the hand of any of these characters. Terrorists, and I don't know why some of our people in Nigeria are baptizing them as bandits. They are the worst form of terrorists you can think about. And the government is expected to checkmate these people, get them arrested, get them prosecuted, sentence them. That is the way you can sanitize the society. In Senate crimes, you see that there is serious operation of the executive to curtail the activities of these marauders or these terrorists and all that makes life to be safe. But here, these people operate with impunity and even make video of themselves and make all kinds of abuses and statements and threats. And we never see the government put this people to check. So, the government is failing Nigerians when it comes to issue of fundamental human rights. Government is not sitting up to what they're supposed to do. They're not waking up to the occasion to ensure that things work. And because of that, there's a lot of uncertainty in this country. We are going back to the days of Thomas Hobbes that will tell you that life is short, life is nasty, brutish, and short. That is exactly what is going on in this country. And it doesn't augur well at all. And of recent, where the United States president made a comment that they want to intervene militarily, and you see some Nigerians reacting against that, meaning that people are determined to ensure that our fundamental rights are completely abridged and abused. If someone is trying to help you to solve a lingering problem that appear not to have any solution, you're supposed to be happy and be able to welcome that. You can talk of how they can help and make it easy. But to react against such means that people are determined that nobody should live in peace in this country. You know, when President Jonathan was in power, he had to involve mercenaries. And those mercenaries were getting results. It was still the same set of politicians in this country that reacted against him, that made him to allow the mercenaries to withdraw. And things got, out of hand. So the government needs to sit up on a very serious note.
So it means, while you were talking, Nigerians don't really look at the issue of abduction, kidnapping, not being able to travel on our roads as Nigerians as a breach on Nigerians' fundamental human rights. Now that you're talking about it, but then, is there anything that can be done? The people who are doing these things are always at large. You can't really see them. You don't know who they are. So who would be held responsible in a situation like that? Because, like you said, it's a breach on the fundamental human rights of Nigerians as it has to do with free movement, then freedom, to life. So what do you think anything can be done by Nigerians?
What Nigerians have to do is to wake up and make, intensive demand on the government of the day to wake up to their responsibility. Nigerians have to insist that our military should be properly equipped. Nigerians have to insist that the money released for security, our military should utilize this money most effectively, because there have been a lot of allegations about the military not acquiring the proper, armaments and releasing it to the officers at the field, where our officers at the forefront in this fight are ill-equipped compared to the kind of money released to the military for defense. It means that many of our military and security leaders at the top echelon are embezzling the money meant for proper equipment of the officers in the field. These Nigerians should rise to investigate and insist that our officers in the field should be properly equipped and the right armament released to them, instead of this ragtag army of kidnappers overpowering the military. Is such a shameful thing to think about. It's too shameful. For instance, recently, where the brigadier general was abducted and killed by these people and all that, is a slap on the face of all Nigerians. And a lot of things are called to question. If these officers in the forefront of this battle have high class and high caliber equipment, military equipment and armament and armory, these ragtag people that you can say can easily be outrun should not be operating at random. So Nigerians have to insist on the military officers and security officers making effective use of the money voted for security, getting modern equipment and equipping the people at the front. And Nigerians have to insist that the government of the day must make sure that the proper equipment is acquired. Not where some seniors will just be living in luxury, whereas the people at the forefront are being wasted. Recently, one of the military officers, I don't know whether it's the chief of army staff or chief of defense staff, was saying on television that the youths are refusing to be recruited into the military. And if they are run away, they'll be recruited by force. I
think there was a disclaimer to that statement. I think it was in the media space. I think there was a disclaimer to that statement.
Okay. If there's a disclaimer, that will be good and fine. You see, if our fighting forces are properly equipped, the youth will be attracted.
So now as it is, if I can understand you very well, you're trying to say not getting the proper equipment, all right,
Yes.
for our military
Yes.
is an attempt to breach the law, which has left to the taking of the lives of Nigerians. That's what it means, right?
Yes.
Okay, now, what are the implications of fundamental human rights abuse of individuals and even the society in Nigeria here?
Now, the implication of these abuses are that people will become cowed. People will live in fear. People will become mediocres, not being able to function, not being able to perform their duties, and the society will decay. People will shy away from whatever is expected of them, and families are going to get poorer, because where people cannot work freely, do their business freely, eventually poverty will envelop the land. Nigeria will become a pariah state because Nigerians cannot move around to do their businesses. People will start dodging responsibility expected of them on all fronts. When you are not sure that if you go out, you are coming back, people will start dodging responsibility. Right? Even those who have got jobs will not perform optimally because they are not secure and they are not sure of the security of their lives. Okay? Now, you see, the whole society will become enveloped in mediocrity. The implication is so far-reaching. It's so far-reaching. And this country eventually will sink to a level that will be too poor to imagine. So the effects are so wide. You know, economic decay, social decay, and whatever you can think about. Education cannot even advance. So these are the effects. The effects are so wide that both on the family, on the individual, on the nation, even at the global stage. Because, you know, we are saying now, yes, the world is a global village. Nigeria being looked at as the giant of Africa, we eventually become a tottering giant. A giant that cannot, under any circumstance, amount to anything. Because the people within the country cannot function. Because of abuses, because of lack of security, because of fear all over the place. So, the country will just sink. You know, talking of a fair state.
All right. Well, I think that is an angle to it. I think there are some people who Nigerians feel should know the law, but still go ahead to abuse the law. Let's talk about the fundamental human rights of Nigerians that has been abused at different stratas, at different levels, even by people in government. Some persons even accuse some judicial officers sometimes of abusing their rights. And these are custodians of the law. These are people that are supposed to know the law. In a situation like that, what is your perspective? What do you think in a situation like that? Can Nigerians do anything when somebody who is a custodian of the law is violating the law in the name of, well, what can she do? What can he do as it is in the Nigerian setting?
No, there are things Nigerians can do, and Nigerians are functioning. You see, if it's a judicial officer, the body that disciplines judges is the NJC, okay, National Judicial Council, and many Nigerians have been petitioning the NJC against the abusive tendencies of some officers, judicial officers. And the NJC always investigates such. The ones that have been found wanting have been disciplined. You know, where investigation is done and nothing is established, then the officer is left off the hook. So people have always told that line. For lawyers, Nigerian Bar Association is the body that disciplines lawyers. And where lawyers misbehave, people also petition against them to the Nigerian Bar Association. And many lawyers have been disciplined to that effect. Some have been, stopped from practicing for maybe 5 years, 3 years, but where the case is so serious, some licenses have been withdrawn entirely. Some have been cautioned. So there are always ways of getting across to make sure that things work. So it's not that judicial officer is just a loose cannon. No, there are means, checks and balances, and people have been towing that line.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me ask this question. We are educating our viewers so that they can know, because a lot of people get stranded when they get into troubles, especially when it has to do with the infringement on their rights. What are the things that you think a judicial officer could do that could amount to the violation of the fundamental human rights of Nigerians?
Now, when a matter gets to court, what the law says is that the judge is an unbiased, impartial arbiter. The judge is not, like the language we use, is not supposed to step into the arena. And the issue is that when a case has stayed in court, there's a time limit within which a judge must deliver judgment, 90 days, from the time that the matter is dispensed with. The judge has a window of 90 days to deliver judgment. There have been few cases where some judges did not deliver such judgment after 90 days. They were petitioned against, they were sanctioned. All right? A judge is not expected to allow delays in a case before him, should ensure that things are done timeously. Where there are delays like that, there have been petitions against. And a judge is not expected to allow, semblance of interest in handling a matter. Trying to, do something that shows that you are more bending towards an individual against the other. These are some of the things, And where there's a petition that is investigated and established, such judges have all been sanctioned. So these things don't just slip away. There have been a lot of petitions. Some petitions indeed are frivolous. By the time it's investigated, because that the judge was doing his job properly. It's just that some people just decide to. Okay? So such ones will fail. But where a judge is found wanting, you go this way. So that's how infringement can occur.
All right. Let's look at the aspect of security operatives now. We've heard, so many times we've had people say things like, because the brother is a military officer or a police officer, or because maybe the boyfriend or the girlfriend is a police officer or a military officer. You see these people taking laws into their hands, all right, in their operations to infringe on the fundamental human rights of Nigerians, all right? So in such situations, what do you have to say as it has to do with the Nigerian police force? Sometimes they will tell you bail is free, but is it really free? The mode of address, there is no warrant, but somebody is being picked. You are arresting someone and the person is being beaten up. Whereas the risk is saying that there shouldn't be jungle justice. But sometimes you see people being beaten without ascertaining whether or not they are criminal by people who are supposed to be security operatives. In that scenario, what can you say? Can we call that an infringement of the fundamental human rights of Nigerians?
Very serious infringement. The one thing one should be looking at in this country, we need to come to a stage in this nation where the police cells are neat. If we have neat police cells, people can wait in police cells for the arraignment in court. But if you see the condition of police cells, you discover that even to spend a night is horrific, because the cells are so dirty and so unkempt, they are so terrible, they are so inhabitable by human beings. And because of that, people are in a hurry to get out of that place. And the police will tell you, we are doing investigation. We want to conclude our investigation. But to stay under that kind of environment, pending conclusion of investigation, is unimaginable. And that's why people will just want to get out and look for, we call it administrative bail. Because where you get the proper bail is in the court. When the court grants you bail, you are free to be coming to court till the end of the trial of your charge. Okay? But to wait in the police cell pending your arraignment in court is something that is not in any way reasonable because of the condition. So people struggle to get out of that. And yeah, the police will tell you bail is free, but they will tell you that we are not finished concluding our investigation. But you cannot stay there. You want to come out. And then they bring up the idea. If you cannot wait for the investigation, negotiation starts. Which is, that is the horrible thing we pass through. If the police cell is habitable, many people will not bother to talk of administrative bail. They wait, conclude the investigation, charge the matter to court. And you see, most of the time, the police, they're not even interested in concluding investigation timelessly. They will leave you there to suffer and rot. And that is what will make you to struggle to come out.
And does that amount to infringement on fundamental human rights?
It's infringement because the law provides for the time limit within which investigation should be concluded. That where there's a court 40 kilometers radius where somebody is arrested, the person should be charged to court within 48 hours. Within 48 hours.
That's the law. That's the place of the law.
Yes. Within 2 days, the police should complete investigation and charge you to court. But we don't see it happening. They can keep somebody for the next 1 month, even months, in police cell in the name of doing investigation. It's already an infringement. And when it happens, if the individual goes to court to enforce his or her fundamental rights, the person will succeed. Because the person has been detained more than necessary. And the court has always awarded damages to that effect. For those who try to, some will just overlook that. So it's a serious infringement to be kept in police custody for more than 2 days, where the court is nearby. If the court is far, it's not even giving you a leeway to stay longer. It could be talking of 2 hours or something like that. So it's a serious infringement that's going on day-to-day basis in our police cells, which is not supposed to be. Being arrested by the police without being informed the reason for your arrest, without your relation being communicated, is a serious infringement on your fundamental rights.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
Let's look at the women and children who are being looked at as maybe to an extent a gender that needs more attention. All right. The question is, women and of course children in Nigeria. All right. Do they have rights? That is rights for women and children in Nigeria as it has to do with protection.
The issue of fundamental rights is general for everybody. Children, women, men. Now, the one that is gender sensitive is because of the recurring cases of this issue of violence, which appear to be affecting women more, especially domestic violence. Though in recent cases, we have also discovered that even some women are violent against men. It's coming out to the public glare now, but is more against women. And also the issue of the thing affecting children, where people take house helps and abuse them, violently. So there is Violence Against Persons Act 2015 that deal with this issue. Okay, gender-based violence, both male and female. There are the Child Rights Act that protects the rights of the children by reason of their tender age. These rights are enshrined and are enforceable. So these areas protect. So Violence Against Persons Act is always there to help to rescue women who are affected. But not only women, anybody affected by issue of violence, domestic violence, is protected under that act. But that assists women a lot because they are mostly affected most of the time. Like I used to ask, you see a situation where a husband dies, and you see what happens in some communities, where they will tell you they want to bath the dead body and force the wife to drink it to prove her innocence, that she did not kill the husband. But I'm not seeing where a wife died and the body is bathed and the man had to drink in order to prove his innocence. These things that come from cultural backgrounds need proper attention as our laws are concerned. These are some of all these laws have a provision for such protection for anybody that is affected. It's a case of who activates any of these laws when the issue arises. And that is why it's good, like for women and children, non-governmental organizations, NGOs, exist to assist, to be able to bring up these matters, because some cases affected persons don't have the capacity financially to seek for redress in the law courts. But they can use any of these NGOs to be able to escalate their matter when such things happen.
All right, we're rounding up now, but in the case of divorce, because we have a lot of divorce in the society right now, we've had the issue of the children need to stay with me. The father will say, no, I want my children to stay with me. The mother will say, I want the children to stay with me. I don't like your character, and all of that banter. Then, does the law have anything about that situation as it has to do with the right of the father, the mother, and the children?
Certainly. We have a lot of provisions in the law when it comes to matter of divorce and custody of the children. Generally, the law expects that children that are under 18 should stay with their mother until they are adults, because the mothers are closer to their children. The children derive a lot of nourishment from their mother, naturally. But the law also considers the fact that the person that should keep a tender child should also be capable of taking care in terms of the welfare. So, the law looks at the job and earnings of the man and the woman, the husband and the wife. Okay? Who will be able to take care of these young ones financially? But that is not the key consideration. Because mostly what is done is joint responsibility. That tender children should be allowed to stay with their mother. The husband, being their father, should be able to provide for their upkeep, pending the time that this young one should be of age. If the children are up to 18 years, what the law provides is that they should make a choice by themselves who to stay with. That's why, yes, the judge will usually ask that they should be produced in court. And the judge will interrogate them. Who do you choose to stay with, your father or your mother? Anyone they choose on their own, the law allows them to stay with. They are adults. They can decide for themselves. But these ones that are under 18 are still tender. So most of the time, they are made to stay with their mother, while their father should send upkeep. And their father should have opportunity of being with them from time to time. Okay? As they stay with their mother, they should have time that their dad can spend time with them. Until
they decide again to go stay with their father. Maybe as they are getting older.
Until they are up to 18. Until they are to 18.
No, I'm talking about those that are 18 already and have decided, hey, we want to stay with mommy, we want to stay with daddy. Is there any time that they can decide, no, we don't want to stay with mommy anymore, we want to stay with our father? Is there any time?
Of course, it's possible. But even as they are staying with their dad or their mom, the other party has a right to have access to them from time to time. It's usually agreed in divorce cases. Usually agreed, maybe once in a month, okay? They will go spend either a week with the other party, the husband or the wife, or once in 2 months, depending on how it's agreed. So that the father or the mother should not be denied access, because these children belong to them. So anyone staying with one, the other should have access.
Okay.
All right? So that's how this thing runs. There are cases really where it is established that a mother is violent and reckless. So by reason of that, the court will not award custody to the mother, because the child will not be protected. The interest of the child is paramount when it comes to custody. So in that case, the court will award custody to their father.
And that can be vice versa, right?
It can be vice versa, yes. So that's how this thing works.
All
but
right.
if there's no threat of violence and the child is tender, mostly the child is allowed to stay with the mom while the father makes provision. But the father should have access to the children from time to time because these children need the presence of these parents in their lives.
All right. Thank you very much, Barrister. I would have loved us to continue because there are so many other questions that I would have loved to ask. But for now, our time is up. We'll hope to have you again so that we can talk about this, because it's an enlightenment for Nigerians and everyone who is part of the program today. Many thanks for joining us, Barrister, on the program today.
It's always a pleasure to be here. It's well contributing to the society's development.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And this is the size of the first conversation on Global Morning today. We are taking a quick break now. After this break, we would return, and of course, it will be time for the second conversation with Uyi Agbomofuegbe. Stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily, while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Very good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk. Tonight on the program,
As always, it's a pleasure to have you. Join us here on Global Morning. I am Uyi Agbo.
You know how we do it on Teacher Post Extra, bringing you all the...
On the desk this evening, we have very topical issues to discuss, and of course...
Welcome to your parliamentary program, The Parliament.
Peaceful and joyful home doesn't happen by chance. It is built on...
Women can rise beyond traditional boundaries to claim their rightful place as
a numerous committee, about more than 12 committees.
Face to Face is a program that comes to you once in a week at about this time, where we look into issues and discuss them. It gives you the opportunity to
world leaders in United
Welcome
Nigeria
to Entertainment Circle. And trust me, today you're about to get entertained.
Hello everyone and welcome to the program Talk Sports here on Global Television.
Talk Zone is that platform where we bring young and talented artists. Stay tuned, stay inspired, stay with Global Television on DSTV channel 365, on Star Times channel 276.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily, while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, so incidentally, we told you earlier at the top of the show this morning of how that there's some heartwarming news coming out of this insecurity challenge we're dealing with as a country, with the release of quite a number of these girls who had been kidnapped in their schools, especially the story coming out from Kebbi State, where we now understand that all of the girls, 24 of them, have regained their freedom, while quite a number of them, almost 60 in Niger State, have also now been freed. So we understand the government and, of course, security agencies are working around the clock to ensure that we bring closure to these as quickly as possible. But this morning, we also need to look at the political variables that are driving insecurity in our dear nation. And to help us understand this, I'm joined by Professor Bubakar Umar Kari, Professor of Political Sociology here at the University of Abuja. Prof, a very good morning to you. Prof, hopefully you can hear me. All right, it will appear we're still having a bit of an audio issue with our guests, but Professor Kari will be helping us understand the political factors behind the escalation that we're seeing in insecurity across our country the last few years in particular, especially these sort of back-to-back abductions with regards to schools, even though we also now understand that governments across board, federal and subnational, are working to ensure that measures are put in place to check these monster, as I'd like to call it. Hopefully, Prof has joined us now. Good morning to you, Prof. Prof, are you there? All right, we're taking a break, everyone. The rest of the show returns shortly. A very good morning to you, Professor Kari. All right, thank you. So let's...
yes,
Yes, I'd like us to, first of all, appreciate the fact that we are seeing some positive news coming out of this security challenge you're dealing with. I mean, you have also followed these developments for a long time. Help our viewers understand how this process has been politicized to a very large extent, and what those factors are that are politically driving this issue.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope you can hear me very clearly.
Yes, very well, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Prof. Go ahead, please.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you all right.
I can hear you very clearly. Can you?
Yes, Prof. Just
Okay,
go on. I can
ahead.
hear you very well.
Okay. Yeah. Once again, thank you for having me. Okay.
You're most welcome. Go on.
The question that you ask is a very loaded one. Trying to establish a nexus between insecurity and politics. In Nigeria, the two are quite intertwined. As a matter of fact, they are inseparable. Insecurity and politics are
We're having some glitch with the audio from Professor Kari's end. Let's quickly fix that glitch. The rest of the show returns shortly.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What's your problem? We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Very good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk. Tonight on the program.
As always, it's a pleasure to have you join us here on Global Morning. I am Uyi Alpo.
You know how we do it on Social Post Extra, bringing you all the...
On the desk this evening, we have very topical issues to discuss. And of course...
Welcome to your parliamentary program, The Parliament.
Peaceful and joyful home doesn't happen by chance. It is built on...
Men can rise beyond traditional boundaries to claim their rightful place as
a numerous committee, about more than 12 committees.
Festival is a program that comes to you once in a week at about this time where we look into issues and discuss them. It gives you the opportunity to
rule leaders in United
Welcome
Nigeria.
to Entertainment Circle. And trust me, today you're about to get entertained.
Hello everyone and welcome to the program Talk Sports here on Global Television.
Top Zone is that platform where we bring young and talented artists.
Stay tuned, stay inspired, stay with Global Television on DSTV Channel 365, on Star Times Channel 276.
And Professor Kari has rejoined us. Prof, we apologize for all the trouble and appreciate your patience.
No problem.
So you were going to react to my question about the political factors driving insecurity in Nigeria a while ago.
Yes, as I was saying before, that there is a very strong nexus. There is a very strong relationship between insecurity and politics in Nigeria. And this begins from the very understanding of what happens or what is happening. The average Nigerian is very skeptical, is given to theorizing, is given to giving their own interpretation of what is happening. And their interpretation is often that the whole thing is politics. The activities of the insurgents, the activities of the kidnappers and bandits, and the other purveyors and agents of insecurity. It is believed, rightly or wrongly, by many, if not most Nigerians, that in the first place, or first and foremost, the whole thing is politics and nothing but politics. It is also political in the sense that even if very handling by the authorities, by government, lends credit to this suspicion or belief that what is happening is political. And again, some of the agents and purveyors of the insecurity itself, from their pronouncements, from their modus operandi, from their objectives, assumed or concrete, one can easily read politics in it. If we are very, very specific, for instance, if you take the Boko Haram insurgents, and here we can also involve the so-called Ansar Islam and ISWAP. What they want to do in the first place is political, because they want to extirpate the Nigerian state and transplant an Islamic caliphate in its place. And so they subscribe to an ideology of an Islamic state, and that is a politics in nature. Again, many of the reasons advanced by the so-called bandits or kidnappers is political. They have been complaining that they have been oppressed, that they are only responding to oppression, exploitation, and neglect by the Nigerian state. The Nigerian state has failed woefully to cater for them. The Nigerian state has not been giving them education, has not been catering for their health needs, their social needs, and so on and so forth. And they are also complaining of oppression from security agents, from local leaders, from traditional leaders, from the vigilante, and so on. So a great deal of their grievance is political. So the point I'm trying to make here is that it is extremely difficult to divorce politics from the aspect of insecurity ravaging the country. That is the reality.
That reality is very disturbing, just the same way it is very grim. But let's talk about this finger pointing we're now seeing amongst the political class itself. Talk to our viewers about how this further complicates a very bad situation.
Yeah, again, in addition, there's a lot of ignorance, a lot of unfounded accusations and beliefs among Nigerians. It is very easy for some people to say that the so-called bandits or herdsmen are land grabbers, or the jihadists. Anytime I read or hear about that, I just laugh, because it is a complete lack of clear understanding of what is happening. In the first place, most of these so-called bandits, they are people who do not stay in one place. They are transhumans. They are people who move from one area to the other. And they do not even have a leadership. They do not have any coherent reason for grabbing land. So they are not land grabbers in the first place. And they are not jihadists, because most of them, in the real sense of the word, are not even Muslims. They don't know the first thing about Islam. And what they are doing is not Islamic. They are not acting or reacting in the name of religion. They are not preachers. They are not out to propagate Islam. We cannot see them preaching. As a matter of fact, if you are a Muslim, the general belief is that most, if not all of them, cannot even recite Surah Fatiha, which is the simplest verse in the Quran, and they don't pray. These are people who act under the influence of drugs, intoxicants, and so on, and their mindless killing is completely un-Islamic. So they are not jihadists. These are people who have various reasons for what they are doing. And I think it is this kind of ignorance that is fueling the whole thing. Because if you do not properly diagnose a problem, you cannot correctly prescribe its own medicine. You cannot solve it. So first and foremost, we have to understand these people. Who are they? And what are they? What do they stand for? What do they want to achieve? It is only when we have a proper understanding of their mission, of their modus operandi, of their objectives, where they are going, and so on, that the problem can be resolved. And we are all guilty of lack of proper comprehension and diagnosis of the problem. If I say we, I'm talking of the government, the states, or those who run the states, and even the people. So if you look at it, specific problems exist or arise out of specific situations. For instance, the Boko Haram problem is completely different in terms of mission, in terms of objectives, in terms of focus from the so-called banditry. And even among the bandits, they have so many reasons. The banditry in Katsina State, for instance, to an extent, the reasons or the modus operandi and the motives are substantially different from the ones in Niger State or the one in Kebbi State. The local dynamics differ. So if we want to understand this problem with a view to addressing it, we have to look at the problems from specific domains. What have brought out the problem in Katsina, for instance? We have to understand them very well. And how are they different from the problem in Kaduna or Kebbi or Niger and so on and so forth? And certainly, the same problems completely differ from the ones in Benue, in Taraba, in Plateau, and so on and so forth. But the tendency or the temptation is for us to use one yardstick, to use one almighty formula to simply say,
we're not losing stream with Professor Abubakar right there.
Okay, can you hear me?
Okay, Prof, are you still there?
Yes, I'm there. I can hear you very well.
Please go ahead. Just go ahead. Go ahead with your point.
Okay, sorry. So, what I'm trying to say is that we lack a proper, coherent understanding of exactly what is going on, and that's why we are not making progress. The problems of the insecurity, the nature of the insecurity in the central region of Nigeria, in the so-called Middle Belt states of Benue, Plateau, Nasarawa, and so on, the factors are substantially different from what obtains in the Northwest. They are not the same. So if we really need to solve them, we have to first and foremost understand the problem and admit that they are not the same. Most of the problems in central Nigeria, whether we like it or not, is political economy. It is more of economic in nature than political or religious. And these things, works have been done in the past 30, 40, even 50 years by scholars, by security agencies, even by foreign bodies, and so on. The entire problems have been interrogated and dissected and understood and solution given. And then also, we also have to understand that one of the major causes of this spate of endless insecurity is also the activities of mining activities. So it is also business and economy. If you look at the major regions or the major areas, the major communities that are being ravaged by these problems, particularly in recent times, there are areas where one precious metal or the other has been discovered. That is the problem in Kwara, it's the same problem in Niger, it's the same problem in part of Zamfara is the same problem in the southwest to an extent, particularly the discovery of precious metals like lithium, gold, silver, and so on and so forth. And that is where the problem has an international dimension and local collaboration. From as far as Asia, from as far as China, people have been coming to both legally and illegally mine these minerals. And what they first do, allegedly, and it is quite obvious, is to sponsor armed gangs to chase away citizens from around those areas so that they could mine this thing successfully. And the mining has been going on, and so many highly placed Nigerians are involved in it, whether it's in Zamfara or Niger or Kwara, and so on and so forth. So the major factor, the major driving force for insecurity there is simply mining activities, and hundreds of millions of naira are being made every day. Recently, a particular bandit leader granted a press interview and said every week his own group have been making at least 200 million worth of precious metals from Niger, Kebbi, and Zamfara states, where he controls activities there. And even government knows, even foreign government knows that the drivers of insecurity around that area is illegal mining. In the beginning, the problem, as correctly diagnosed, it will interest you to know, sir, that a particular group of intellectuals called the Center for Democracy Research and Training, said that in Zaria, were commissioned to carry out a study in the late 1990s. And they ominously predicted virtually everything that is happening now, particularly around the Northwest. They warned the government about the disappearing agricultural land and the fact that cattle rustling was in the increase. And they wondered if these herdsmen finally lost all their cattle, with their knowledge of the forest and the jungle and so on, and the fact that they have not been educated, they have not been enjoying social services, then they will become a menace to society. And that's exactly what happened. And they recommended measures to be taken. And they warned the governments of Zamfara, Kebbi, Sokoto, and so on and so forth that you people have been taking over hundreds of hectares of land purportedly for agriculture, denying farmers, denying herders, and so on and so forth, that it will become a problem. That is exactly what happened. So when the land disappeared, the farmers want land, the herders want pasture, and both of them do not have. Then problem started. So when the problem started, in the beginning, it was a problem between farmers and herders. And then it now became more or less ethnic, because it happens that most of the farmers are of Hausa extraction and virtually all the herders are of Fulani extraction. And so now fight now broke and naturally assume an ethnic coloration. And then the Hausa farmers who are sedentary, who stay in villages and towns and so on, form vigilante groups. So these vigilante groups started to attack the Fulani herders who appeared to be destroying the crops of the farmers. That was the beginning of the problem between the vigilante and the herders. And then the herders now went and acquired weapons just to fight the vigilante. But along the line, they now discovered that they could use this weapon for other things. And so they now started to use these weapons for robbery. From robbery, it graduated to kidnapping for ransom and so on and so forth. And that's where we were. So the entire thing had been predicted 10, 15 years before it started. And it got complicated because the same herders now started to remember that all these years they have been oppressed by the security agencies, a police who arrests a Fulani herder because his cattle had strayed into a farm. They will exploit them, compel them to sell their cows and bail themselves out. Traditional rulers and the local alcalis.
Right.
So the problem now became complicated. And that's exactly where we are now. And it got muddled up with the discovery of minerals around these areas. Because these guys were already armed. So they are being used by the elites who want to mine those minerals. They are now using them to protect the mining environment and to escort the already mining minerals.
Right.
So
it's quite a complex development, Prof.
It is.
No doubt about that. But I'm afraid time will not allow us to push it any further than this. We'd like to say a big thank you to you for taking our time to share these valuable thoughts with us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
All right, you have a great day ahead of you. Well, that's what we're leaving it with the program this morning. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of it. On behalf of the production team and, of course, my colleague, Ramsey Enoch Agbo, who have made these broadcasts possible. We'll say thank you for watching. I am Uyi Agmofwegbe. As always, remember that the views of our guests on our programs, including here on Global Morning, are their opinions.